What's up, our winners? Welcome back to another episode of Bussin' Chops and Callin' Shots. It's producer AJ again, and I'm not really sure. Why am I here? I'm hosting the show tonight.
Well, because Pork Chop said last week, if I work next week, that'd be 3 in a row. That's called a winning streak. And the last time he had a winning streak, Reagan was in office, for God's sakes.
We can't have that. We can't have the winning streak. That's for sure. You know,
My gosh.
That's called a winning streak. It has happened before.
he was that close to us
so
being
close.
able to say that about him. So,
Yeah,
so
far.
seriously though, what happened? I mean, we didn't talk about this. You just asked me to host tonight, and here I am.
Something about a hangnail, bunion on the left foot.
It wasn't that operation he had.
Here I'm throwing up and pooping myself 2 shows ago, and now he's got a hangnail and he's on the shelf.
Well, you sounded great, by the way. I don't think anybody ever knew that you were just like on the edge of death.
I was brutal. I
Yeah.
thought I sounded different. I was brutal.
Yeah. So speaking of throwing up and pooping, how's the dog going? How's the puppy?
Dolan is doing great. She's hanging in there.
We're sticking with that name, aren't we?
Yes, I'm sticking with that name, though. She's got this fetish with my socks.
Okay.
Which I hope when me and the real Aaron Dolan meet, she doesn't have that, because that would really crush a whole lot of
It's
dreams.
not the worst thing in the world when you think about it, really.
So, anyway, so she had the sock in my mouth, and me and my 8-year-old, she was staying over the other night and like totally laughed because she dropped the sock. I was like, "Hey, get the sock out of my mouth! Get the sock out of your mouth!"
Uh-huh.
And like, so she drops it, and like, there's where my steps are. There's like one of those half walls, and dude, she took off with the whole 2 steps it took, and just boom, right into the wall.
Yeah,
So she's ran into like 3 walls, and I'm like, kind of a dumb blonde, but I still love you.
She's cute though. She's cute.
She is.
At least she has
She's
that
laying
going
here
for her.
right now, like,
Yeah.
what is Dad doing? But
Right.
she's totally my person.
Yeah.
She is. Like, she, yeah,
You're her
she's
person.
cool. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
6 in one, half dozen the other.
Either way. Either way.
Either way. I mean, me and her are going to kick it at a winery sometime.
Oh,
And
sure, Chop would love that. You should
Yeah,
join
and
him for
then-
some Riesling. Maybe that's what he's doing.
payments for some yeah, he's drinking Boone's Farm tonight. I'm actually thinking about, do you think I could get by with having her ride in the golf cart with me going to the golf course?
I'm not a big golfer, and I don't know the rules at country clubs, but I would imagine that that's fine. I don't see any issue with it. I mean, you get to bring like beers and other items onto the golf course. Why would they care?
So look, if I can get her to go to wineries with me and go golfing with me and watch football with me,
Yeah.
we'll be in good shape.
What else do you need?
Well,
You might not even need the real Dolan. Well, that one can bet pretty good, so I know that's
yeah,
what it
that one
tracks.
can bet pretty good.
All right, we're gonna get off Aaron Dolan here tonight, but listen, we'd love to have you on the show anytime.
Yep, Slim Jim's $5 holla. Ba-doom.
Guys, just want to real quick let you know that we are pretty much right in the middle of football season. I wanted to give you just a little bit of information when it comes to like where you can find us. Of course, bccsports.com. John's been 150 games over for the last 13 years and running. Is it 14 now? I guess last year.
No, we're in the midst of 14
I'm
right
in the midst
now.
of 14.
In the midst of 14 right now. So holding strong, 32 games over with the Angels wins Sunday night. Tonight we gave out 4 plays. The Yankees is going to be a loser. They're down 5-2 right now. Of course, they have bases loaded, nobody else out, couldn't score. Why I would bet the Yankees is beyond me. They're the worst team in baseball other than the A's. So we'll see what happens. All the other games are knotted up. So if we
There you
can
go.
come out tonight with 3-1, that'd be nice. But look, right now, baseball's a grind. I keep telling guys, it's like it is a 6-month meat grinder.
Yeah, really puts you to the test, huh?
Like it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. If you pick up 30, 40 units, you had a great year. We're on pace to do that. Now we can shift our focus: football, college football, NFL playoffs, the bowl season, college football playoff, college basketball, March Madness, NHL regular season, NBA regular season. We got all that to March 31st. So some good opportunities if you email me, John at bccsports.com.
There you go. John at bccsports.com. Of course, you go to bccsports.com. Excuse me, bccsports.com. And you can see all of our packages listed there. We are redoing the website, so there might be a construction happening here in the next coming days or weeks. So be patient with us on that as we sort out all of the kind of new website, the look and feel, some new packages. We're going to roll out with a bunch of new promos coming out really, really soon. And, if you're interested in finding us on any of the socials, of course, if you guys are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure you go and follow us on your favorite podcast provider. So that's Apple, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you find your podcast. Of course, if you guys are listening on a podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube. You can find it at BCCS Sports. And that includes our TikTok at BCCS Sports. You can go on Instagram and find us at Bussin' Chops, Calling Shots. And then Twitter/X, which we're actually going to be doing quite a bit on pretty soon, coming up football season. I think we're going to be very, very active. John's already been very active, but I think the team's going to jump in. We're going to give you guys some fun stuff on Twitter/X, and that is bccsports.com. So check us out on all those spots. And John, I don't know. What do you think? I think we should, do you have anything you want to add to that? I mean, is there...
Yeah,
is
Wilbur's on TV.
Wilbur, like the pig?
My sea turtle, Wilbur, off YouTube TV. There's Wilbur.
Oh, that's right.
That's
right.
Sea
you named
turtle?
the sea
Wilbur.
turtle on YouTube TV.
Wilbur. Hey,
Shout out
Nolan,
to our
there's
sponsors
Wilbur.
at YouTube TV.
Yeah, our sponsors, YouTube, Taco Bell, Law Office of Cochran and Cochran,
That was
Trojan,
funny.
Long Edition.
Yeah, I was editing the episode last week, and I stumbled upon that part, and I was laughing to myself. I chuckle quite a bit when I'm editing this podcast. It's actually pretty fun.
People at Planet Fitness, another sponsor of ours, they probably think I'm crazy because I'll be in there just like, lifting weights or on the treadmill, and all of a sudden I'll be like, right? Like, because there'll be like a good line. I'll be like, hey, that was kind of funny.
Hey, so since Drop isn't here, we can talk about this. Is the Spanish Onion still hanging around Planet Fit? Have you seen her lately?
Yes, she's been riding like one of those ninja motorcycles. Look,
No.
this chick, this chick is no joke, man.
Oh my gosh, she is
Just absolutely
baddie.
No
She is a baddie. Oh my
She's
gosh.
baddie. Yeah, like
Whoa.
I'm afraid to even ask her to coffee because she would probably like put me in a pretzel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, let me tell you something. Every
I'm
morning,
envisioning, like, in my mind, she's like Sofia Vergara, but like younger and like even more like crazy. Am I like close?
This is like
Salma Hayek, maybe?
No.
Oh, okay. We're not going that far.
This is you know how you always
Penelope
wanted that?
Cruz, one of my favorites.
No.
It's
Like whitish, blondish hair, but the backside of Kim Kardashian.
Oh, okay. Enough said.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Like she rolls through there with a straight. She's got more of a six pack than any dude in that gym.
Okay. So yeah, she really is a baddie. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going to Planet Fitness. I mean, I'm always surprised at people that are just like that in shape. They go to, no offense. I mean, I have a Planet Fitness.
Excuse you.
Well, I'm saying they've received my donation of $10 every month. They do. I just don't go there. But it's also like, people that are motivated enough to push themselves to, be able to go to a place like Planet Fitness and like be like definitely above average, like much above average.
Oh yeah.
That takes some commitment. Definitely.
Listen.
I mean, you've seen that. You've lost like how many pounds over the last month?
233.
It's crazy,
So, but look,
it takes that dedication.
Nobody's committed as she is. She's in there for like 3.5 hours, and there is no like just prancing around, just trying like.
She's straight just going the whole time.
She's got the headphones on. She ain't paying attention to nobody. Like she's just going at it.
Like mostly cardio, or this is getting ridiculous. But I mean, it's mostly cardio or like lifting. Is she on the squat? Like
no,
with
she
a push,
goes
the leg press.
No, it's like
the cables. What is it?
No, so she starts out on a treadmill, then goes to the stair stepper, then she goes over to the ab area and is like a machine. And then, dude, like I'm telling you, she's over there like squatting 50-pound dumbbells.
Okay.
Like whatever the chicks do. And then she's like tricep pressing like 140, like, and you wouldn't think it because she might weigh $115, but it's like, yeah.
Hey, it takes commitment, and that's some people have it. And are a Spanish onion. Shout out to you if you ever get to listen to us. We hope you.
Hey,
hope you
every morning I just look up and I say, God, you're so good.
What else do you need on the treadmill? You got the Spanish onion. You got us in your ears.
Meanwhile,
you listen
I'm
to yourself.
2.8 miles per hour, just pouring sweat.
Yeah. Hey, so I want to talk about this Barstool thing, right?
Come on, Jesus.
So, okay, I just want to set it up for the audience here. So, Barstool Sports, okay, Dave Portnoy, the owner, came out. Was it yesterday? I think I can't remember exactly what day it was. Came out and announced that he is buying back the rights to Barstool from Penn. For those of you that don't know, Penn owned the rights to Barstool so that they could do the Barstool sports books in their casinos, one of which we've done a live broadcast from, the Hollywood casino in, what do you say, the wild, wonderful West Virginia?
Wild, wonderful West Virginia, Charlestown.
Right. Yeah, so they have sports books.
I frequent a lot.
Yes. So yeah, this hits home a lot for you, right? Like they have Barstool Sportsbooks all around the country. So Dave Portnoy and Barstool have they bought that back. Dave laid it out. He said, "Look, we're not getting into this game anymore. There's too much regulation. There's too much red tape. They were kind of messing with the stock prices, and there was a lot of stuff that happened with the CEO of Penn that left, and a lot of stuff that went on." And Dave said, "Look, we're all about content, and I'm never selling the Barstool name. It'll be with me until the day I die." And we're all about content. So they're getting out of the sports gambling part of it. He's bought back that. And simultaneously, what happened was Penn partnered up with ESPN. So now all Barstool sports books will be ESPN sports books, I guess. And
ESPN Bet is what
ESPN Bet, right. And the app, formerly Barstool's Sportsbook app, will now become the ESPN Bet app. To our understanding, all of that will be the same technology. If you guys use Barstool Sportsbook app, it'll look and feel like very similar to what you use now, but it'll be under ESPN, which they're starting to build out their betting portion, which is kind of wild to me still that some of these companies are getting into this. But what do you think? I mean, obviously, you're heartbroken because we're big Barstool fans around here, and unfortunately, not big fans of the other guys. But really, I don't know if this changes too much. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I think that you have because ESPN paid like $2 billion for this.
$2 billion.
Yeah.
Really? I don't know the number. That's crazy.
So listen, this is basically what this comes down to is you have look, let's give ESPN their due.
Sure.
Sports would not be what it is had it not been for ESPN.
Absolutely. 100%.
And the bright minds that started that, and all the way back in the days, when I was a kid, your Chris Bermans, your Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, all that. But now, if you take, like I said, they do a really good job with NFL Live, and some of their NFL content is really good. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith corners a huge part of the market. That's the only show they have that has grown its audience. Every report month over month for 12 straight years or something like that I saw. So that shows First Takes did phenomenally well. Stephen A's, whether you like him or don't like him, he's a very vibrant, he's a polarizing figure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sure. But the talent is the important thing. I mean,
his
he's
talent,
the face and his talent is the reason that's growing, not necessarily ESPN, right?
You're correct. My problem, and look, ESPN, I still faithfully watch SVP. But where my issue lies is I just think that they get away from what they're good at, which is sports.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to get in this political realm that they got no business being in. Right? Like, if you want to do that, there's a place for my platform. Great. Make your platform CNN or Fox News or whoever you want to go to, right? But like, this is sports, right? So I get these platform things, but there's also a time and a place, right? So,
yeah.
And then on the sports betting side, this is purely money. I don't understand how Gazarian, who really started their sports betting stuff, you let him go, but you're going to get into this sports betting world. And I always laugh at ESPN because they got all these people on, whether they're ex-athletes. And look, I'm not knocking them. I could never go out there and tackle somebody in the NFL either, but they can't do what I do either. Right. So it's just loser after loser after loser that they give out. So, and most of the shows I watch, there's only really 2 shows I look at or podcasts I listen to. I'm like, okay, I'll really absorb that, because there's so much content for sports gambling, and it's all, everybody wants to look cool or throw out these flashy stats that they think mean something. But yet all these people you hear from, it's kind of like buddies I got out in Vegas, and even buddies here. They always talk about all the bets they win, but they're always broke. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Oh man, I just hit this 54 team parlay and I won 7 out of 8 Sunday. Oh, really? How come you can't buy yourself a Coke? You know what I mean?
Or
like
why are you working overtime, on Saturdays?
Yeah, why are you working overtime?
Football game or
go
whatever.
home to your wife and your kids. So my problem with ESPN is when is them trying to be in an arena that they know nothing about, and the public listens to these people. And again, they have figures over there I love Scott Van Pelt. I think he's one of the best. Yeah. I think he is the best in the sports industry as a whole. This is my personal opinion, right? But there's a lot of people who do a great job. Dan Patrick does a great job. Colin Cowherd does a great job. There's guys I like all over on different networks. My problem with ESPN is they give out all these games and they're all losers, or they all talk about who's going to do this, that, and the other. And they slob Dak Prescott's knob to exhaustion, and the guy's got 9 picks in training camp.
Right.
Like, stop saying he's a top 10 quarterback. The guy is a great person. He's a great guy. I'd want him on my roster. He sucks as a starter. I don't know what more. So that's my issue with them. How it affects us, there's plenty of casinos. There's plenty of people that want to hear somebody that actually picks winners. So it doesn't really bother me. It just bothers me now. I got to go in there and listen to what I mean?
They're probably airing all that stuff anyways. And look, I think, when it comes down to it, the talent matters, right? And I think, I listen to these shows. I listen to some of the ESPN stuff, and I listen to ESPN radio, even Fox, Fox Sports. What it comes down to, and Chop will probably be really glad to hear this, is not just with sports betting, but just in sports in general. Some of the stuff I hear, I just go, you have no, and these are former players sometimes.
Yeah, they're lost.
And I'm like, wow, you really don't have any idea what's going on, do you? No. I mean, some of the teams they're picking to win conferences and stuff, I'm just like, but most importantly, the thing that I am most concerned about when it comes to this is now ESPN has a platform on the betting side where they're going to be making money off of people, off the backs of people that built their network. They're going to give them money to bet. And now, to your point, they're also going to have a huge platform in which they're giving out picks that are terrible. Mm-hmm. So how can that not be some kind of, I'm not saying other sports networks or sports gambling networks aren't doing that, but how can that not be like a conflict of interest, right? You're saying, here's some terrible picks. Now go on our app and bet and let us make the money, the juice that basically you're giving us. But it seems terrible, like a terrible conflict of interest.
Yeah. All these people, again, and not all of them, there's some great people that I respect. I think Matt Humans is a great one for VEASAN. He's a really sharp guy. Mitch Moss is a really sharp guy. Like I said, there's some guy, sports. Some of these guys are just polarizing figures, right?
Sure.
Like Skip Bayless tries to be polarizing. He has absolutely no idea about any sport. I don't care how long he's written about. I don't care how long he's been on TV. The man's worked really hard at being polarizing and controversial. All he knows is the Dallas Cowboys, and even that he's delirious about. Okay? So, like, a lot of these shows, they have, and I never have understood, if you played the game, you should know how the game goes better than John the Better. Some of these guys have absolutely, like, if I hear one more person tell me to hurry up and bet because it keeps falling, to hurry up and bet Justin Fields to be the MVP, the next person that I hear that on TV, I might take my 85-inch TV and throw it out the front window. The Chicago Bears are the Chicago Bears. Until that changes, they'll still be the Chicago Bears. Hey, get over here, dummy.
Yeah, quiet, Dolan. We're recording a show
quiet,
here, don't
Dolan.
you know?
Some of us are trying to work over here. You want dog food this week? So anyway, but like this just absurd stuff that they throw out. The Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders. Listen, how anybody can logically say that outside of Jerry Jones, you're delirious. You've lost your ever-loving mind. Right? And so they just keep saying these. And then when they have these pick'em games every week, they're so far off left field that really they make it easy for a guy like me because they tell the public what to do. And then you see the public changing the line Saturday and Sunday. And it's like,
there you go.
This is an easy one for me. This is like a layup.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there were many times last year guys be like, hey, you watching the game? I don't have to. ESPN picked the other side. I'm good. It's in the bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's my only problem is if you're going, and like I said, they got rid of Gazarian for whatever reason. I don't know. And Aaron Dolan, seems very sharp and intelligent. But
she'll be gone. She'll be gone in a couple of years.
But like there's some other dudes on there, like that one joker that has his little tie and his gel hair. That dude blows. I don't know what his name is. Like, he couldn't pick a winner with tomorrow's newspaper.
The guy that's got the perfectly manicured eyebrows.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
And he's got eyelashes.
That guy's lost. That guy's lost. He has he's a figure, not a brain.
They have the backdrop. They have the backdrop that like looks like he's in. I'm sure he is in Vegas. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not.
He is
but
in
it looks
Vegas.
like. But like it's very Vegased out, and it's just like okay, well, whatever.
Well, all I'm saying is if you're going to be in that arena and you have the brand you have, at least get some people in there that know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to sports gambling.
Well,
like I think the first person that does it is going to have massive success. I know we have these 2-man teams with announcing, right?
Yeah.
But the first network that steps out there, Amazon or NBC with Consworth Tirico, the first group that puts a bona fide, listen, there's a lot of polarizing names out there. The guys, I'm telling you, I've seen them. They bet $50 a game. They don't make a living off betting. They make a living off selling false picks and false hope to people. They can't pick winners. But when one of these football play-by-plays get a real sports handicapper that knows what they're talking about in the booth with them during a game for live betting and get that angle of it, I think you're going to see massive ratings, and I think that has massive legs.
Well, now, I mean, why wouldn't they, right? Why wouldn't they? They have all of them have a sports betting app associated, so it would benefit them. And I think, you feel like you're pitching yourself here a little bit. I feel like this might be the next move for you here.
Well, I just think
right next to, Tirico and Collinsworth, John Cole.
Look, I'll wear a shirt and tie to be with Tirico and Collins.
Oh, you would?
Yes,
you just wouldn't do it on ESPN.
For ESPN, they're gonna look. We're gonna have to talk.
But
if
NBC,
I get the same,
I'll do it.
I would need the same deal McAfee's got.
He doesn't even wear a tie, and that's a whole other thing that obviously contributed. There's been a ton of stuff that's gone on with the Barstool Sportsbook and Pat McAfee now, and
Listen, what they did with McAfee with College Game Day, that was brilliant on ESPN's part. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I think they're doing some things that make sense, right? So I don't want to count them out yet.
But what I'm saying is, I want to hit on this. If you have, because you have a great color commentator like an Al Michaels or Tirico, and even Joe Buck, or pick any of them, right? They're all dynamic. And then you have a great football mind breaking down the game, like Collinsworth, Aikman, whatever. And then you're putting a sports handicapper that also knows the game in there, and now all three of them are playing off each other. I'm telling you, it'll be fascinating.
Yeah.
It'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to sports announcing ever.
Hey, Amazon, we're hiring, or
There you go.
we're up for recruitment over here. So yeah, I don't know. Hey, but like speaking of slobbing on the knob, I guess for lack of a better term, of the Dallas Cowboys, which we obviously know ESPN is all about. I wanted to jump to a little bit of NFL news with and here we are, our first topic. And we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. So are we any better, really? Are we any better than them? But I thought it was interesting, right, with Dak and some of the stuff we've seen coming out of training camp, right? 3 interceptions yesterday. So we're recording here on Wednesday night. 3 interceptions yesterday on Tuesday. 2 of them were from Trevon Diggs, who's a very talented player. But 9 total for this training camp, so far. And look, the guy led the league in interceptions last year with 15, right? So a lot of people are concerned, but I don't know. I want to play the other side a little bit here. I mean, training camp is it the best barometer, right? And we got these defenses out there that are really got a ton of guys out there trying to show their stuff, and they're all putting their best stuff out there. They want to beat the other side. I'm not as concerned with training camp interceptions as some people might be, but with Dak, is it a different story? I guess is the question.
Listen, it's hard for a tiger to change its stripes. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll go on record again. Dak Prescott's a phenomenal man and human being. Mm-hmm. What he's been through, the adversity he's faced just in his personal life, with family, and just things he's been through, and how I watched him navigate that through Mississippi State, and even getting to this point, I have the utmost respect. I think he's a wonderful gentleman, wonderful young man. I would have him on my roster as a backup.
Wow.
The guy is not a winner.
Yeah.
Again, guys, I don't know how much tape you need to see. Okay? If
I want winners.
3 things can be true. Trevon Diggs is the greatest corner of all time. We know that's not true.
I mean,
Dak Prescott is exactly what he is. A turnover machine.
Mm-hmm.
Or Trevon Diggs is really in his head. And if your own teammates get in your head, you got no shot against Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's a good point. But I mean, isn't training camp the place where you want to make those mistakes, right? Like you really want to push yourself to know what's working and what's not, what you're capable of and what's not. I get it. The past.
Absolutely. But he's did that his whole career, AJ.
Right. But I mean, let's say he's progressed.
Like,
let's say he's come to Jesus moment, and
But he hasn't.
We don't know that. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, okay. I do. Listen, if he had played anybody, I mean, let's be real with ourselves.
Okay.
Did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers deserve to be in the playoffs last year?
No.
I mean, the only reason they got there was Brady, but that defense was Swiss cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense was breaking down around Brady. The fact Brady got them to the playoffs, he should have got MVP consideration just for that.
Yeah.
So Dallas beats up on them, and we're like, oh, they've arrived. Dak's arrived. They played a team with a losing record that should have been there. As soon as he got in a game that mattered against a good team, the 49ers, what did he do? Pick after pick after pick.
Well, I think we all knew that they weren't going to.
He is never going to even sniff an NFC championship game.
Shoo. All right.
Not going to happen. Won't happen. I'm sorry. He's a nice guy. But this love affair to put him in the top 10 over a Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins just really, quite honestly, blows my mind. I mean, he doesn't have as many playoff wins as Ryan Tannehill, for Christ's sake.
That top 10 thing is really still bothering you, huh? It's really still
yes, because again, we talk about, we want to anoint people, and I get it. Everybody's like, well, everybody's got to talk about the Cowboys. They're the biggest brand. They're not bigger than the other 31 teams combined. Okay?
Yeah.
Get real.
It's very lopsided with the national media.
It's very lopsided. Sure. Nobody, again, you're going to talk about a team that at best will get the 6th or 7th seed at best.
Well, I think it's just because they have one of the biggest fan bases out there, right? Like they're just catering to the audience.
And they're all delusional too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who is the national media playing to, right? Whether it's
They're all delusional.
the news, they're playing to the delusional folks. So we get it. And that's why we're here, guys. We're here to give you the real stuff.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're here to talk about Call of Duty and
Yeah, we're here to do what other
trips to
people won't
Belize.
do. We're here to talk about the New Orleans Saints.
Oh. Well, speaking of people that are talking about teams, we obviously have one of the biggest kind of docu-series going on right now, one of the most hyped up ones. And have you seen the new season of Hard Knocks? I have not.
I just saw the clips. I just saw the clips of old Mike Greenberg this morning, just gushing over, he's a diehard Jets guy.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So, like, everything now is either Jets, Cowboys, Jets, Cowboys. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, I've heard, what I've heard is that the first episode, at least, is very heavy on someone who I tend to be more fond of, right? So,
yeah,
but
the Aaron Rodgers documentary series.
it kind of turned into this like Aaron Rodgers documentary. We'll see what the next couple episodes look like, but it was very, very Aaron Rodgers heavy, I heard. And, so which I'm okay with. It seems like, that's probably their best bet at this point from rating standpoint.
Jets fans, you're like Dallas. You're still Jets fans. The only difference between y'all and Dallas is Dallas has won since 1969 because that's the last time y'all won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, again, I'm happy for the Jets fan base, but I'm just going to tell you, it's not this whole, and like McAfee, he got Jets are winning the Super Bowl. Folks, come on. Jeez. Give me a break. They're not winning the freaking Super Bowl. They'll be lucky if they can win their division. We're talking about Super Bowl. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Will they be better? Absolutely, they'll be better. You're going from Zach Wilson and Mike White to Aaron Rodgers. Unless Aaron Rodgers is totally washed up. And we're going to find that out.
It doesn't sound like it. I mean, based off of what I've heard and even clips from that show that I saw, some of the stuff he's still doing in training camp is really, really kind of wowing some people over there. Some of the throws he's making and, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and,
I will say his leadership has blown me out of the water so far.
Yeah. Did you see the interview with the Hall of Fame game they had with him towards the end of the game? They just got him on the microphone. I mean, and I was like, wow, like, it seems like for his brand, this is the best thing he could possibly be doing right now. And
he's changed a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. Well, including, do you know who Liev Schreiber is? The guy who narrates the show. Have you ever heard of this guy?
No.
Have you watched Ray Donovan before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the main character in Ray Donovan, Liev Schreiber, and he's the one who's been narrating Hard Knocks for the duration of the show. I think Paul Rudd did it when they were doing Kansas City a few years back because he's a big Kansas City fan. But even Liev, he came in on a helicopter and, Liev Schreiber, do they have like some kind of bromance maybe or something going on? I don't know. We'll see how the rest of this series plays out. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of into it. I might watch it. I have Max.
Yeah, I want to see it. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers has did a good job of. I'm impressed so far, but I will preface it by saying, A, there's still the Jets, and B, that schedule's murderer's row.
Yeah,
and they're not better. I'm sorry, they're
Yeah.
just not better than a Kansas City or a Cincinnati. They're just not.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced they're better than a Baltimore.
All right, so you're getting on the Baltimore train now all of a sudden.
Miami, I really like Miami when Tua plays.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? So, look, I'm on record. If Tua can play 16 of the 17 games, Miami's winning that division.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play more than 7.
I'm on board with that. And I'm not going to say you're a Tua hater. I think it's a reasonable stance to take. I think that was very, you know what? Congratulations. That was good. Yeah. I think that was a very
if he was on the field, he would be in the running for MVP. Thank you very much.
That was like very valiant.
Cheers,
of you.
Friends.
Yeah, I think Miami has a great chance, and a ton of weapons. Tua's out there. I mean, people are still talking about the Patriots in this division. It's like, guys, I don't know. Anyway,
I wouldn't be talking about the Patriots. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but
Yeah.
I mean, defensively, they're going to call us. Listen, as long as Belichick's in the league, like he's going to give Josh Allen a fit. He's going to give Rodgers a fit. He's going to give Tua a fit. That's just what he does. New England's going to be in a lot of ugly games. Look, I think week 1, the line is begging you to take Philly. 4.5? Kidding me? Right?
All right.
Look, everybody loves Philly. I'll take the home dog New England week 1.
Nice. All right. So we're getting some betting inside already. I love it.
I mean, that line's just screams too low. I just,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if there was any screaming going on, but I wanted to switch over to a little bit of what's happening in your hometown, right, over at Washington.
Oh, my God.
And I didn't hear about any screaming, but I heard that there was some rumblings. Well, as I heard, it was like Ron Rivera comes out, and I think today he's back. He's walked back some of his comments, as of Wednesday. But Tuesday he came out and said some of the players said they were concerned, quote unquote. And they came to him about Eric Bieniemy, the new offensive coordinator, and his methods and his strategy, saying, I don't know if it's too tough or whatever they were saying. But, since then we've had players, like Tyreek Hill come out and defend, Bieniemy and says that, look, the guy knows what he's doing, just toughen up, and
Yeah,
even
he's
some
been in 3 Super Bowls. Well, I mean,
Right.
Washington's only won 3.
Right.
Last one was 1991. I remember it very well. I'm a diehard fan.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. What do you think? It was much ado about nothing here. It's
It's a big to do. It's a big to do. Yeah. And if the I don't want to attack ownership because they've did a really good job so far at generating excitement, but I think that something a true Redskin fan, and I'm one of those, a true Redskin fan would have really been like, okay, now this thing is getting turned around, is I wish they would have fired Ron Rivera yesterday.
Old Riverboat Ron, yeah.
Because how much, listen, folks, we can dance around it all we want, okay? But the guy's protected. They've protected this guy. Okay?
Right.
It's a reality. And this is what happens. This is what happens when we don't have fair opportunity and minority coaches don't get hired. Because when minority coaches don't get hired and don't get the chances they deserve and have earned, when one gets a seat in a head coaching spot like a Ron Rivera, he's allowed to be a total incompetent dumbass his whole career and adopt a nickname for getting lucky a couple times. And he's had one good season as a head coach. It just so happened it was Cam Newton's MVP year, which just so happened North Turner, who should be in the Hall of Fame as an offensive coordinator because he was one of the best ever, was the offensive coordinator. Since then, Ron Rivera can't coach his way out of a wet paper bag. When they asked him last year, he didn't know they had been eliminated from the playoffs. Okay?
Yeah.
I get it. The man survived cancer. He's a great man. He's helped on the rules committees. Great. Find him a job in the NFL. He's not fit to be an NFL head coach. But we protect this guy because we want minority coaches so bad, and we do such a bad job of not giving some of them opportunities that when one does get in a seat, he's allowed to be totally incompetent.
No, I don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
I mean, I think there is some of that in the league, and I don't necessarily disagree with the total philosophy. However, I don't know if for this specific situation, it might be the case that Dan Snyder really just didn't want somebody that was going to push him on things and didn't want someone that was going to kind of, buck the system, as they call it, right? He wanted someone more pacifistic, and he wanted somebody that was just going to kind of say yes. And that seems like how Ron is. He's just kind of an easygoing guy. He just doesn't really, and we'll see with new ownership.
He's a great man. I've heard he's very polite. He sucks as a head coach.
Right. So I think time will tell now with new ownership, like what's going to happen, because Dan Snyder, I mean, he didn't want somebody that was going to be hard headed and kind of in his face. And like, it's how, Al Davis and everything. It always hires the coaches that even you see it with the guy that, at Dallas, Jerry, he does the same thing. He doesn't want coaches that are going to be really potentially to be in their face. And that could have been this reason why he's here and why he's been protected.
And look, I heard mixed reviews from, ex-players on all networks, right? Because, I got all networks going all day long as I'm studying and working. And this whole, we've heard that the enemy steps on toes and, you don't want a guy mowing you down, you know what I mean? And I'm like thinking to myself, and Greg Jennings, a guy I really like, he was like defending the players. And I'm like, the culture is a losing culture.
Right.
It's been a losing culture since 1991, except for the 3 years that Joe Gibbs came back. When Gibbs came back, they won again. All that. Listen, let me explain something to you. This whole waney boo boo, let's make people. Amazon don't give a daggone rip about you. Corporate America doesn't give a rip about you if you don't do your job. It's the NFL. I don't care if you're the low man getting paid $100,000 a year or you're making $20 million a year. If you can't go hard after a ball or you can't block and you can't take a coach getting in your rear end, then you don't deserve to be out there, bud. Sorry. And the players that ran to Ron Rivera, he should have cut them. Even if one of them was my favorite player, which is Scary Terry. Why'd you cut the like at some point in time, the culture in Washington has to change or nothing's ever going to change.
Right. It's like, what are your other options, right? Like, why not try something different?
Yeah, I don't run them all out of there. What if who on there has the right to say anything? None of them have achieved anything.
Right.
Anything. Okay, so we got a great defense. That's awesome. They've achieved nothing. Scary Terry had a 1,000-yard season. I love him. You've achieved nothing. You know how many receivers catch 1,000 yards?
Yeah.
So I'm just, again, there's so much excitement and then leave it to Ron Rivera to screw it up before we even play a game. And I'm telling you, that football team ain't winning 6 games. They'll win just enough, 4 or 5, to screw themselves out of the first pick of the draft because that's what Rivera will do.
Yeah,
because he's an idiot.
Oh,
he's an idiot.
We went over the schedule. Was it last show or show before that? And was it 4 games, 5 games?
I'm gonna tell you this right now. You're gonna laugh at me and you're gonna say, John, you're just saying this out of anger. Week 1 against the Cardinals, they're gonna be in a dogfight.
I could see that.
They're barely going to get by the Cardinals if they get by them.
Yeah.
Bunch of buzzards.
Well, speaking of people that are potentially getting by, I want to talk about Chris Jones a little bit. This issue that we have going on in Kansas City. Is he gonna? How much longer is Chris Jones in Kansas City going to hold out for this contract here? I know he's going for obviously we know that 22.5 to 23.5 is kind of in that range of his caliber of player. Aaron Donald obviously in that 31.7 million per year, but he did put out a tweet that said, "I love you, KC," and a lot of people have been kind of confused about what that meant. Does it mean that he's excited about this new contract he might be getting? Maybe there's stuff going on behind closed doors. Does it mean that he's leaving? We experienced this a little bit in Tennessee with AJ Brown was very vocal on Twitter while they were going through their contract negotiations. So I'm a little hesitant to be optimistic about the tweet from Chris Jones. I think it might be on the more kind of negative side when it comes to his future with the franchise. Yeah, I think it might.
Oh, no, Kansas City doesn't handle things like the Titans do.
Okay, well.
So, listen, Brett Beach came out and said, we love Chris Jones. Chris Jones deserves to have a great contract and be paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think it gets done by the second preseason game.
Okay. All right.
And I think never fear. everything's going to be all right. Crack a beer.
Okay. No,
Never
no issue.
fear. Grab a beer.
Well, I've seen this story play
Now,
out.
Chris
you know?
Jones will be. He'll
think
be
he's-
there
do you think he's-
opening day.
Do you think he's trying to get Kansas City on his side, right? Like, because again, I've kind of seen this play out of multiple different contract negotiations, and of course, ownership and GMs are always going to come out and say, like, yeah, we want them to have the best, and we're rooting for them, and as long as I'm the coach, like, they'll always be on this team, and then all of a sudden, they're gone. I don't know. I'm a little.
Well, I think Kansas City is playing it right. They understand that Chris Jones needs to have a great contract.
Yeah.
However, Veach, who's maybe the best GM in football, also understands there's only so much to go around. And then, you know, Kelsey's going to want more. Chop seems to be convinced about their wide receivers. I'm not. I think the wide receiver position could keep them from even getting to the AFC Championship game. I think it's that big of an issue for them. But again, that's no slouch. I still think they got the best quarterback in the league. They've won 2 of the last 3 or 4 Super Bowls. I mean, let's not cry wolf here like they're going down in flames. I'm not saying that. But I think he understands not just that, but they've drafted all these defensive people, right?
Yeah.
And that's a young defense. But look, in 2 or 3 years, when you got 8 of those guys all won contracts, it's just attrition. So I think Kansas City's trying to plan, okay, we know we got to get Chris Jones a great long-term contract. However, we can't give the whole farm away. And then how are we going to put stuff around him? So I think the deal gets done.
That's the problem with salary cap, right? I mean, there's only so much money to go around.
Only so much to go around. And so, look, I think after Burrow gets his deal, Kansas City, you think about that. They're going to have to go back and give Mahomes another deal, right? How does Mahomes play that? Hey, I want, because he left money on the table for Chris Jones this time. Does he go this time and say, hey, I want a bona fide number 1 wide receiver, so I'll take less, but you got to get me that, right? So there's just a lot of, I think this is all about massaging the salary cap. I have no fear Chris Jones leaves. I think it's just, how do you make it work for both sides?
Yeah. That's always the challenge, for sure, when it comes to this day and age in the NFL and salary caps, free agency.
But he'll be out there week 1 against the Lions.
Okay. Noted.
And if he's not, that's going to be real scary for the Chiefs since they play a top 10 quarterback week 1. Old Jared Goff.
Oh, no. Here we go again.
I'm telling you.
All right, we'll see. Jared. Yeah, I don't know. All right. We had the Hall of Fame game last Thursday, day before we recorded. Talked a little bit about it. You gave some insights. Then we had the Hall of Fame ceremony, induction ceremony. Some great players inducted from, me
Zach
watching.
Thomas, man.
Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Darrelle Revis.
How about
Rondé
DeMarcus
Barber?
Ware singing the national anthem?
Was that? Yeah. What was the deal with that? It seemed kind of weird.
It's something that him and Demaryius Thomas, the late Demaryius Thomas from there, the wide receiver Pets Broncos, they wanted to do it together, and they had practiced, and they said they were going to do it one day, and then obviously, unfortunately, Demaryius Thomas taken way too early from us. But DeMarcus Ware stepped out there and did it. Man, I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all about this patriotism, when it comes to singing the national. But man, I forgot. They played together in Denver. That's right. Yeah.
I was, when old Peyton Manning, Omaha.
Omaha. I always think of DeMarcus Ware, playing for the Cowboys, and man, what a talent, and just coming out, just a beast. And
that Broncos Super Bowl team. I mean, you got DeMarcus Ware coming off one edge and Von Miller off the other side.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, so good.
Ask Cam
So
Newton
good.
how that worked out in that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Glad Ron Rivera had him coached up to handle that.
There's been a lot of talk lately about and we've talked a little bit about it on the show, about the process in which players and coaches and offensive coordinators and even radio personalities, whatever, are inducted into the Hall of Fame. Deion Sanders came out and said that there should be this like an extra room that's sort of this like, you know, kind of place where it's like the upper echelon. What's your take on that whole kind of conversation that's happening? Like, do you feel like that? I mean, I'm not saying about any of these players at all necessarily, but the Hall of Fame, is it a little bit too easy to get into, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think so?
The NFL and NBA is too easy to get into, and baseball, you need a DNA and stool sample, for God's sakes. I mean,
so true.
I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Listen,
Yeah.
I hate to rain on anybody's parade, right? But let's just be real. There's one or two fellers this past weekend that, listen, because you have a good NFL career, did you have a great NFL career? I mean, there's like 8-9 of these, and I get it. You got 53-man roster, 32 teams, blah, blah,
Thousands
blah, blah,
of guys that have come through the league. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, I'm a diehard Redskin fan. I would question all the time, why isn't Joe Jacoby in the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
Pro Bowl left tackle every year for over a decade. He had to face the Reggie Whites, the Lawrence Taylors of the world. I mean, Ed Too Tall. I mean, the guy had his hands full and handled himself in that division. So a guy like him doesn't make it. But then, like, I mean, again, Jets fans are really going to hate me. But I mean, Joe Klecko, is he really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. They had the cool New York Stock Exchange name and all, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zach Thomas, really good NFL career.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hall of Fame. It's
Hall
just
of
like
Fame?
Hall of Fame. Like your face is literally enshrined in a bust that like kind of sits there on the wall. Like that's yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, when I think Hall of Fame, and again, I kind of get what Deion's saying, because when I get Hall of Fame in my mind,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sorry, but nobody that got inducted this year is on this level. Deion,
Yeah.
Jerry Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, John Elway, Brett Favre,
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, Willie McGinnis. Like, I mean, just trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, there's when I think, I mean, Charles Haley. I'm trying to think of who else I physically saw. Like the bulk of their career. Derek Thomas, Bruce Smith. Like, those are
Earl
Hall of
Campbell.
Famers.
Yeah.
You know, Andre Reed. I mean, those are Hall of Famers, not like, let's just put this guy in like somebody said the other day something about, and I get it. We pour a lot into stats, but like, I think you also got to consider like the times change and the game has changed.
Yeah. Massively.
Like, so statistically, I don't really care where he sits. I don't think that Reggie Wayne is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean, really nice career, but Hall of Fame. Like, I remember it took like Art Monk 20 years to get in, and when he left, he held every record till Rice broke it.
Right.
So, like, I just think that I think what Deion's saying is, it holds a lot of truth, man. We're just kind of letting anybody roll through that puppy. I mean,
Yeah.
like Isaac Bruce, that's a Hall of Famer.
Right. Man, but I would still would love to go, you know, because I feel like that would obviously give me like a ton of context as to like, okay, like what I see is just from a distance, but if I was there and I was able to see it and I was, you know, walk through it and go, okay, do all these players really belong here? Maybe it would give you a different idea. I mean, how big is the hall? I don't know. Like, is the hall like a mile? Like, or is the hall like, like
it's not as big
is
as
it
you
like
would
100
think it
feet,
is.
and it's like, okay, it's fine. Okay, like maybe I should be a little less harsh on this, right?
Yeah, it's not as big as you would think. I'd tell you what needs to be in there more is there's not enough coaches in there. Not nearly enough coaches in there.
Yeah.
And when a coach gets in, most of the time you got to wait till he dies and then they put him in. It's like, well, what'd you make the guy wait for? You know what I mean?
I like the radio personalities in there too.
Yeah.
That thing I really like, the announcers, the broadcasters.
The NFL Films people. I mean, think about how huge NFL Films has been to the league. I mean, so stuff like that. But yeah, I just don't know if like Ben Roethlisberger, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. He won 2 Super Bowls.
First ballot? Was he first ballot?
No, he's not up yet.
Oh, he hasn't even. Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah. That's a good point.
Marshall Faulk, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's guys you look at, you're like, yeah, that's a Hall of Fame. Then there's other guys that's like, well,
Good career.
a good career, Chris Dolman, good career. Was he a Hall of Famer? I watched him play. I think he was a really good player. Hall of Famer? No. John Randall, that was right beside him on the interior. John Randall's a Hall of Famer. Like, so, I kind of get what Dion's saying, man. Not every guy,
You know what the problem is too is like I feel like there's a lot of players. Again, we're going back to this like conversation around not wanting to hurt people's feelings, stuff like that, where there's not a lot of player. I was listening to some this morning, and I think it was NFL Morning, Jason McCourty. And they were asking about this conversation, and they were talking about certain players, and I was like, well, what do you think about so and so? And they're never willing, like they played with these guys, they would never say, no, he shouldn't be in the Hall. Like they always be like, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. And I think there's just a lot of that going on in the league where it's just like, they don't want another player to find out that they don't think they're worthy of it. And so they almost err on the side of like, and whether it be like whoever's on, the induction committee, I'm sure there's, rumblings about, who voted what or whatever. And I think that's it. It's a lot of not wanting to hurt people's feelings. Because I played with that guy, or I covered that guy, or, I coached that guy or whatever. And I it's
like right now, I've heard it thrown around about a couple of guys in the league right now. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, Trevon Diggs. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer. They throw that around like crazy. Yeah.
They throw it around. Trevon Diggs? What? Where? When? How?
Still got a long road to hoe, buddy.
You know what I mean? Like, I've heard Jalen Ramsey. I mean, I don't even subscribe. Tyreek Hill, I've heard that. Okay, so he had a couple, 3-4 great years. Hall of Fame? Like, Hall of Fame?
Who is the name 2 or 3 players you say right now that are in the league that are like no brainers for you?
Well, Mahomes, obviously.
Okay.
Aaron Donald is a Hall of Famer, first ballot. God, man.
Yeah. It's tough.
I mean, like I said, I think that it gets thrown around so much that we don't even realize how much it gets thrown around just loosely.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I've heard people say it about Derrick Henry here in Tennessee. And
no, absolutely not.
And I'm like,
not yet.
Amazing player, but I mean, look, he's going to have, if he stays healthy, he's going to have an amazing stat line. But it's too early to say that. It's just it's still too early. Anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I heard people say that about Barkley. I'm like, how can you say that already?
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Like how can you even say that? Cam Hayward, I think he's had a phenomenal career with Pittsburgh. Is he a Hall of Famer yet? I don't think so.
Right.
Right? Like, so, I mean, and again, we're just quickly going off the cuff. This wasn't rehearsed, but I mean, I would probably say right now, Mahomes and Aaron Donald, somebody would really have to throw some names. Oh, I'll give you a third one. Trent Williams, left tackle of the 49ers. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Huh. All right.
I
Not
think
on my radar.
Yeah, those three. Other than that, maybe a Cam Jordan is close. But like if you were to say, oh, well, what about the Bosa brothers? No, they're not there yet.
Yeah.
TJ Watt. No, he had a couple good years. He's not there yet.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer?
Oh yeah, I forgot about A-Rod.
Okay.
I'd give A-Rod. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
At least
A-Rod's
at least you're giving him that.
I try to forget about him when I can't. Lamar Jackson, he's not a Hall of Famer yet.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Joe Burrow, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Mm-mm.
Matt Stafford, they'll put him in. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, gosh, no.
So, I mean, that's what Dion is saying. And again,
So
that's
true.
not a knock to those players. They've had good careers, but have you had an elite, like when I think about Hall of Fame, I think about you were the greatest you were one of the top three in your position for over a decade, unless you were like a Terrell Davis that got robbed because of injury.
Yeah.
But like you could see like, yeah, that guy,
the potential was there, yeah.
He already won 2 Super Bowls back to back, Super Bowl MVP, blah, 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 right? Like you can see it. But I think sometimes we really force this issue of Hall of Famer and we just throw that around and it's really a disservice to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then baseball, they only want to put one person in a year. So until they put Bonds, Clemens, McGuire, and them guys in, I think they should just close it.
Just
hey,
close it down
let's
for
legalize
business.
sports gambling. No, Pete Rose, you still can't get in. Sit down.
Oh, it's such a hypocritical thing for sure. It's terrible. When I think of teams that have put in a lot of Hall of Famers, I think of the 49ers. And not to say there's any Hall of Famers on the team right now, but we are watching.
They got Trent Williams. That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. But maybe Shanahan. Maybe. We'll see how the rest of his career goes. But
well, his dad's not even in the Hall of Fame yet, so you can't put him in.
That's that's kind of crazy to me. Mike should be in there. I
Yeah,
think.
the whole league uses Mike's offense now, or a version of it.
Yeah,
So.
I agree with that. But speaking of the 49ers, Purdy is, they came out this week and listed him as QB1. So they're going with Dirty Purdy over
Purdy.
there. Old, pretty good Purdy. And, Lance is number 2, and then we have Darnold at number 3. Are they?
Keep an eye on Sam Darnold, AJ.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on old Sam Darnold. He might pull the old Chevelle out of the garage before the season's out.
I could see it. I mean, definitely if Purdy goes down or if he doesn't perform, what's going to happen with Lance, though? Is Lance staying on the team? Do you
Listen.
think there's a potential for him to get traded?
Trey Lance has a really bright future at your local McDonald's saying, would you like fries with that? Would you like medium or large? Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Oh, gosh.
Just get that man in some dreads and he's in there like swimwear.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, I think he's got some trade value, though, right?
Who?
Trey Lance. I mean, if you wanted to trade him right now.
If you trade for him, you scream stupidity and desperation all in one breath.
So what? Sometimes you cut your losses, Maybe people are smarter than we think.
Well, the 49ers aren't going to move off of him because that would be John Lynch admitting to Shanahan, I was wrong and you were right. And as much as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan look like they're buddies on the same page, make no mistake about what it is.
Yeah, this is a one-way relationship, brother.
This is a, hey, let's prove who's, they got the measuring tape out there on the desk. Let's just put it that way.
Dude, I've just forgot about this thing I needed to tell you about. This post I saw. You like Hulk Hogan, right? You're a big Hulk Hogan fan? Yeah. And he was like doing this like pop up kind of activation at like a local like sports shop or something. And this kid came in, and the kid came in. He was like 3 years old or 4 years old, wearing a Hulk Hogan shirt. He's like, "Let me tell you something, brother." And he goes in the. Have you seen this?
No.
It's freaking amazing. And he goes into this whole thing, and he like probably a good minute just like riffing off of like Hulk Hogan sayings. And he's like, "I'm gonna take you out here to," and then he rips his shirt at the end. Like, it was so freaking good. It was so funny. I don't know why.
And Hulk Hogan, he did in front of Hulk Hogan?
In front of Hulk, and he was like, "That was awesome, brother," you know, and it's like just totally, yeah.
How old is Hulk now? About 60?
Oh, at least. I think he's older than that, probably.
Really?
Yeah, gotta be. I mean, say what you want about the guy, but
American icon, man.
yeah, American icon. But
when it comes crashing down.
Okay, what do you think? Preseason's coming up. Here we are on Wednesday. First games are on Thursday. We have 2 games on Thursday. We have the Texans at Patriots and Vikings at Seahawks. We have, I think, 6 more games on Friday. Quite a few on Saturday, and then two are on Sunday, I think. What are your takeaways for preseason 1? And do you want to give the winners any ideas about how to bet some of this stuff?
Yeah,
what are you
thinking
about?
Well, we're 1-0 in the preseason out the gates. We had that teaser with the Browns and the Ender. Preseason football, you really want to look at your depth charts, right? Quarterbacks play a big key in this. I really like to look at that. Then I like to look at past coaches, how they handle the preseason. Like, Baltimore, John Harbaugh puts more into the preseason than he has any regular season NFL game. Because they've won like 30 straight or something like that. And, he's all about that record for whatever ungod knows reason.
Interesting.
But a couple things that have came out. Obviously, C.J. Stroud's going to get the start for Houston. That jacked the line up from Houston -1 all the way up to Houston -3.5.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So give me the Patriots.
You like the Patriots in that one?
I'll take the Patriots +3.5. Mac Jones has to play. Bailey Zappi has to play. They're still trying to figure it out. Plus, they got old McSorley there. So they got some guys that are going to play. You saw this with Cleveland, right? With DTR last week.
Yeah, super impressive. Very fun to watch.
But when you get late in the second half, or the second half in general, and you get these guys trying to make a team and they got legs and can move around and make plays, there's a lot of value with these guys. Like a lot of value. So the Patriots +3.5, that's going to be a free play this week for sure. And then I also want to put the Patriots in a 7-point teaser. All right, we're going to take Patriots +10.5. And I want to put that with the Washington Commandos +10. All right, Sam Howell's got to play. They got Jacoby Brissett. So I kind of like that matchup there with them. So the Patriots are involved in 2 plays +3.5 in the teaser. Patriots +10.5 with the Commandos +10.
I like it. Your first free plays, guys, Patriots +3.5, and then in a teaser, Patriots +10.5, and then Washington +10.5. Gosh, it feels so good to talk about this again. It's just, I got to say it. Like, I'm fanboying out big time right now. Like, I'm getting all riled up. But what I wanted to ask you about was in the preseason. Now, you've given up a couple plays, but I don't know how I feel about a lot of these lines. Like, so much can change based on who's playing and, new folks on the roster, new schemes, like all of this stuff that's happening that's changed during this offseason. Like, do you feel like the over-under, and I know you're not a big fan of this usually, but do you feel like the over-under is the time, is preseason time to use that most? Because it seems to me that might make the most sense. With some of these lines I'm seeing, I'm like, yeah, I could take that, but like, there's so many unknowns. Like, what do you, like, is that kind of how philosophically you're thinking of this? Because I know you're not a big over-under guy, usually throughout the season.
I'm not, and your over-unders really squeeze you just because of it is preseason. So it's hard to really get a gauge on that, so to speak, because they do squeeze you. Now, some books will allow you to do a 7-point teaser, which is great. Others won't. So that really makes it difficult when you're looking at that. But yeah, over-unders. So a trend I've always liked to look at is if you take the underdog and tease it with the under, at least for the ones I've played over the past 14 years, I've been able to hit at 77.6%.
Huh.
Now, that's not everyone, just the ones I've picked, right? So you say, well, John, what determines that? Well, again, I'm going back to quarterbacks. I'm going back to you really got to be on every team's blog and really follow every team, what's going on in each team's practice. Because if you follow mainstream media on this and you're not digging into team sites and team bloggers, I don't want team news. I want team bloggers, guys, beat writers. They're writing there with the team every day.
Yep.
Who's starting, who's actually going to play. You really got to do your research. If not, you're going to get yourself in a position where, just think, if Houston and New England is Houston -1, -1.5, CJ Stroud is worth 2 points in an NFL game.
Yep. Good point.
In New England, mind you. I mean, what does Houston have to play for? And you say,
pride.
well, what does New England have to play for? Well, New England's got to figure out there's no doubt CJ Stroud's the starting quarterback. Patriots got to figure out who theirs is. Plus, they have a new system with Bill O'Brien. You might see the Patriots move the ball more than freaking they ever have, right? Just because both guys got to get reps with the first team. Right. So that's why I like the Patriots there plus 3.5. As I'm looking down through over-unders, again, it's really hard because 2017 can beat you in a lot of these. So that's really a hard proposition to run into when you can get beat by, a 20-17 score. But those that will let you tease the underdog with the under, I have liked those for sure.
Interesting. Yep. Are we going to put out any over-under plays this season at all, you think? Or is it all going to be pretty much what we saw last season, right? Where it's straight up and down, some teasers, parlays
week.
maybe? Like what? I mean, we're going to try anything
week to week. Over-unders is just so... I want to see how it goes. Look, I've had so much success just picking sides.
Yeah.
And picking 2-team 7-point teasers, 3-team 10-point exotic teasers I gave out. I mean, we hit those at like 68% last year. There's 3-team 10-pointers. I just want to stick to what I do well, man.
I like it.
I want to stick to what I do well. Doesn't mean there won't ever be one. Just like if you have if you got a spread in the first 2 weeks of college football that's under 10 with 2 ranked teams, history says to take the under. So there's certain spots, but it's just what spot presents itself, right? Every game is different. Every nook and cranny between the bet. And that's why I always talk about rules in sports gambling, AJ. That's why they're so important. Because if you're willing to bet anything, you'll never make money long term. You'll have a good day, a good week. You may have a good month. Heck, you may put together 2 or 3 good months in a row. But over the long haul, you will lose if you don't have certain things you look at and just say, yeah, I just don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't go there. I don't eat that type of food. I don't hang around those type of people. It's got to be the same thing in sports gambling. No, I'm not playing 4 or 5 team parlays. That's not what I do. If somebody hits one, God bless them, and gets 38,000, that's cool. I'm grinding out winners. I'm grinding out games over 500.
It's kind of fun though, isn't it? Like sometimes, like you got to mess with it on your own. Sometimes, just kind of like throwing your play money at it, right? Like,
no, I don't.
Okay, I'm the only one in the room apparently. And probably a lot of our listeners too.
Because look, if I listen, so let's just use round numbers. If I'm betting 100 a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I bet 5 games at $100 a piece, $500, right? And I go 3-2, take out the juice, I'm going to make $60, right? But what if I had 4 little parlays, 5 little parlays that add up to $30. Well, I just took half my winnings.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So now do that every week. So if I just threw away, but the chances of winning, well, look, man, if you just took $30 as a $100 better and you took $30 a week, bud, you just spent $540 for the season.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, but it was a rush. Again, that's why I'm not for everybody. I'm not here to have a good time. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here looking at September or August 26th when week 0 starts. I'm sitting here saying August 26th through March Madness of next year, I'm trying to make what 3 people make salary in a year, fat salaries. Right? So I don't have time. Yeah. I don't have time for games. I don't have time for, oh man, wouldn't it really be cool if I hit this 3-team parlay put $5,000 on it brings back 25? Yeah, it would be nice. Then what if it loses by 1 game? I should have just bet the 3 straight and went 2-1 and made money. So no, I can't allow myself to do that because then it goes against, again, it just goes back to rules.
Is that why you didn't play blackjack with me when we went to Hollywood?
Absolutely. I will not get on the card table.
See, you and I are very different.
Yeah, I will not do it.
I'm there to have fun.
No.
I'm there to have fun. Even if I lose a couple hundred.
No.
Maybe.
No, not me. Not getting slots ain't getting my money.
This is who you're getting, guys.
Strip clubs ain't getting my money. I'm not throwing away money.
I don't know. Based off what you said in the past on this show.
That was jokes in a long time ago. Listen, I'm just not. I'm not. I work this. I don't know what other guys do. Obviously, they don't do what I do because they lose. But I literally spend 50, 60 hours a week during football doing this. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm juiced up come Saturday and Sunday. I'm not in a position. It's just like I'm getting ready. Went through this Survivor contest, the Circuit contest. Went through this thing so far 133 different times. I've went through it each week and pre-picked my person, how it would come out, all that. Because I'm not investing $15,000 just to say I was in it and I made it with 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I get into something that's involved in sports gambling, I'm uber competitive. I'm in it to win, not just to have a good time. That's just me.
And that's who you're getting. John Cole, your advisor.
If I want a good time, I'll put $5 on the puppy races.
There you go. I like that.
See the wiener dogs. Those little hot dog dogs, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, the puppy bowl?
Yeah.
So cool. Never watched it, but I saw clips of it, and that's who you're getting, guys. I mean, honestly, it's as much as we're joking around about it. This is honestly kind of the point of what we're trying to get across to you every week is the philosophy, the mentality, the strategy, everything that goes into the time that John spends, this season, especially coming up here with college and pro. And we're going to be, again, we're going to go to 2 episodes a week. We're going to give you recaps. We're going to give you breakdowns. We're going to be going through everything. And that's the time that John puts in to be able to kind of deliver you all this news. So thank you guys that are, subscribing and been a part of this and listening to this. And for those of you that haven't, you're missing out. There's just nuggets all over the place here. And speaking of breakdowns, you told me that you wanted to go over another breakdown tonight, which is the top 10 coaches in the NFL, which I think is super interesting. I haven't seen anybody else do this yet. And I think it is, again, similar to our QB top 10 breakdown we did previously. I want to make sure we're really clear about the parameters here, right? Like, what is it based on? How are you looking at this? Going into the season as opposed to doing it like at the end of a season or in the middle of a season. So why don't you start with your mentality and how you're thinking through the top 10 coaches and how you're breaking them down?
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So for right now, it's where are they at right now in the game today? Okay. So yes, past 2-3 years was their career. Like, so most people would say, okay, best coach in the NFL, Bill Belichick, right? Well, look, Bill Belichick should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a legendary, great coach. Look, he's not a top 10 coach in the league right now.
Yeah.
He's just not, right? So it's a what have you did for me lately? Where are you ascending or descending to?
Okay.
Right? And how are you changing the organization you're with for the better or for the worse? Right? So, and then, hey, I do want to at the end, I want to give out some more free plays if that's okay for you.
Let's do it in the betting corner. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. I want to take care of our people. All right. So number 10. All right. Dun, 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 dun.
Here we go.
I never have to. Number 10, old back. Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks comes in number 10. You know?
Wow.
Old Pete and the chewing gum.
Wow. You went there already. You just came out of the gate. You came out firing. Out of the gates
Carroll.
hot.
Number 10. Hey,
Goodness. Okay, please. I got to hear. I have to hear the reasoning behind this.
Anybody that can chew the gum and be as intense as Pete Carroll.
Okay.
And look, he has apparently, from what we're seeing right now with Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll has proved he can win with two crappy quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Geno Smith.
Okay.
So look,
I'm not
the man's got my vote.
All right.
Number 10. Number 9. Your old Cleveland Brown, Kevin Stefanski.
You love you some Stefanski.
Listen, Stefanski's got it going on. Look, I love his play con. I love his design. If Deshaun Watson can get any kind of resemblance of what he was, Cleveland is a really dark horse. Kevin Stefanski's a darn good coach, man. Like, I like him. I like his demeanor. Kevin Stefanski comes in at number 9. Number 8, your boy, Vrabel.
Oh, that's it? Number
8.
That's what
Mark
you gave
Vrabel.
him?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Coach of the year last year?
What?
Or year before. Sorry.
Yeah, what have you did for me lately? Last year, they missed the playoffs. So look, Vrabel does a really good job. You know, you could make the argument he's did more with less, right? But some of that he's brought on himself, that Belichickian way of doing things. Hey, I don't want a good quarterback. Hey, I don't want superstars so I can rule the roost, right? And make it all about me and team. We'll see how long that can go on and continue, but I'm a huge Vrabel fan. I got him at number 8.
I know you are.
I am. I really am a Vrabel fan. I am.
Number 8.
It's just, you know, and other people, I've heard other people in mainstream media talk about this, and this is one thing I actually agree with them on. It's really hard to take that New England Patriots way of doing things outside of New England. Vrabel's been the only guy that's been able to make it work.
Yeah.
But even his sometimes is questionable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just different. So, number 7. I struggled with this one, but I gave him the pass. Mike Tomlin.
Wow. All right.
All right. I understand he's won a Super Bowl. I was really impressed last year, right? Hasn't never had a losing record, but however, he hasn't won a playoff game, but like one of them was a thing I saw since 2012. He's only won like 2 playoff games. So, you know, though you haven't had a losing season, you know, okay, maybe you were married to Big Ben too long. That really wasn't your call, whatever. Like, but Mike Tomlin, you can't argue with the job he does.
Especially last year. Yeah, what he did last year was really impressive. Yep.
Number 6, I really struggled with this one a lot. But then I had to look at the body of work, and I get it. I think Joe Burrow is phenomenal, but you got to give Zach Taylor his due, man.
Zach Taylor at number 6.
Yeah, you got to give him his due. They got him in a Super Bowl. They had the Rams beat had it not been for the phantom holding call. Okay. They've had them. I mean, they've beat Kansas City 3 out of the 4 times. Like, regardless how good Burrow, because you always hear Burrow and then you hear about the defensive coordinator, and Zach Taylor never gets any love, but the guy's got to know what he's doing. Right?
Yeah.
So
I like Zach Taylor. I like him a lot. And I hate the Bengals, but I really do like him. I think he's a good coach.
All right. Very cool. Number 5. Anybody that can win with Danny Dimes has got to be in the top 5. Brian Daboll. Look, I'm not a big fan of the taco meat and the gold chain hanging out like he's in the mafia, or in smoking cigars like he's some kind of sex symbol. However, Brian Daboll deserves his due, man, for what he did. Now, for him to stay on this list next year would be a huge accomplishment.
Yes,
because I don't think they can win 6 games. Right? I think they kind of caught people off guard. I think Danny Dimes sucks. But hey, let's see what Brian Daboll does. With all that being said, Giants plus 3.5 looks a little juicy opening weekend at home on Sunday Night Football against the Cowgirls. What do you think?
Ooh, I like that. I really like that, actually. Yeah.
Giants getting 3.5 at home. You like that?
I do. I do.
Number 4, destined to be Coach of the Year, Doug Peterson.
You are in
Man's
love.
won a Super Bowl, had the cojones to go ahead and call the Philly special. You look at what he did with Jacksonville in just one season. All right, I was watching him on NFL Network the other day. Look, Doug Peterson's a darn good coach, man, and how Philly let him walk is beyond me.
Yeah. No, the Jaguars definitely got a good find there. That was actually shocking how he landed there. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was begging for him to go to Washington. Begging.
Yeah.
Because I knew what he was.
Yeah.
So, number 3. A lot of people could question this, but again, even when he hasn't had his starting quarterback, he finds a way to stay in games. John Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Baltimore is always in the mix, even with the freaking Brown and all the backup quarterbacks they go through. I mean, look, they almost had Cincinnati beat last year.
Look, I don't disagree he's a top 10, but I mean, he's kind of showing some vulnerabilities, I think, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's got some chinks in the armor.
Chinks in the armor, 100%.
He's got some chinks in the armor.
But to list him...
Who would you put ahead of him? I thought about putting Peterson and Daboll ahead of him, but I was like, no, I'll keep Harbaugh 3rd instead of 5th. 5th would be the furthest I'd willing to drop him going into this year.
I mean, yeah, I could see the Daboll argument. Doug Peterson, yeah. Even Zach Taylor, I might put ahead of him. I mean, just...
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look, Harbaugh has an amazing track record. He's done... that franchise has been competitive every single year. It's super impressive. I just think he's on the downward trend. But that's not what we're talking about. It's what have you done for me today? So I get it. But, I'm looking more ahead. We're being a little bit more level-headed about this. So maybe not fair.
All right. Number 2, I don't think there's any doubt. Kyle Shanahan.
Don't disagree with that.
I mean, it doesn't matter who in the world he has playing quarterback. They're always legit.
Yep. Let's just hope that he has the right pieces this year, because this is going to be, I think for all these coaches, really, but mostly for him, it's going to be a big year for his legacy, depending on what happens. I mean, he's taking a big gamble. Purdy? I mean...
You're right. He's taking a big one.
But he can win with Darnold. He can win with Lance even, I think. It's just a matter of him just figuring out the scheme. He's that smart.
I guess the thing would be, though, how, kind of to your point, how long till that runs out, though?
Right.
Because he is playing with a little bit of fire.
I totally agree. And I think that might get in his way at times.
Yeah.
Right. He really thinks he's that smart that he can win with anybody. We've talked about this before on the show. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna let him give it a shot. I'm gonna let him give it a shot. Like, let's go for it. Let's give it a try.
All right. Number 1, Andy Reid. Hey, Kool-Aid. Anybody that looks like the Kool-Aid man's got to be number 1. Right.
Kool-Aid man.
That and that stash. Look, Andy Reid is in a class of his own right now. Right.
Legend.
And it's not just the Chiefs. It goes all the way back to his days in Green Bay as the quarterback coach when Brett Favre was there.
Right.
All the way up to the runs with Philly with that the team he had up there, having McNabb and Brian Westbrook. I think, again, you got to put him there for sure. They're in the number 1 spot. Hey, Dolan.
What's she doing?
Get off my boxers. She goes up in the laundry and just
snack stuff, huh? Sniffing your drawers.
Yeah. So that's my top 10. What do you think? Give me some feedback. No Sean Payton. No Sean McVay. No Bill Belichick.
Sean McVay is over Pete Carroll. I'm like, I don't know. Even Stefanski. He's pretty smart. He's a pretty smart guy.
Who's that?
McVay.
Yeah.
But
I feel like he fell off the wagon a little bit last year, so he was right outside the top 10. I think another guy that can make a comeback, he's right outside that top 10, Frank Reich in Carolina. I like Frank Reich a lot.
Sure. I think you're giving some legacy points to Tomlin and Harbaugh for sure. But an Andy Reid at number 1. I love Andy Reid's coaching style. I love how he lets his players just play. He lets them just get out there and do what they're good at. If he didn't have those players, though, if he didn't have those pieces, like even there was disappointment in Philadelphia when he was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led to his departure eventually, and obviously him ending up in Kansas City. Would he be as good as he is without those pieces? Guys like Shanahan and Peterson and Dable, I love those because they're guys that can kind of make Vrabel, they can do a lot with a little, and that's the only question I have about Andy Reid at number 1. He should be in the top 10, 100%. I don't know who you'd put ahead of him, though. So, not gonna argue.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're not going to argue. And then I wanted to.
I'm not your brother. I'm not going to argue with you too much.
Yeah, and I wanted to go ahead real quick and give you my top 5 worst coaches in the league. That'll be the first 5 to get fired, or should be.
Oh, okay. This is a surprise. I didn't know about
bonus,
this.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bonus section.
Number 5, Josh McDaniels of the Raiders. That organization is in a flaming disaster, and it gets worse by the day. Apparently, Jimmy G's looked horrific in camp. The whole thing's just a nightmare.
I don't disagree. McDaniels has been pretty
number
bad
4.
everywhere he's gone to head coach. Yep.
Number 4, the guy, great defensive coordinator, has no business as a head coach. He'll be fired after this year, if not midway through the season. Todd Bowles of the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, really nice guy, but in the words of the great Denny Green, he is who I thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Staley, my boy from the Chargers.
You love you some Staley. Well,
that guy stinks. That guy stinks. Number 2 and number 1, I couldn't separate them.
Okay, because it's so obvious.
They're
both
just
going to get fired.
They're just such morons that I can't say one's worse than the other or better than the other. Like if you had an island and it was called Incompetency Island, these 2 people are the Christopher Columbuses of this island.
Okay.
They found it before anybody else. And they're very next door to each other in the division. Mike McCarthy of the Cowboys, Ron Rivera of Washington.
I knew old Riverboat Ron was going to wind up in this
Riverboat
list.
Ron and Mike McCarthy, they're there on Loser Island. So those will be your first 2 coaches to go.
Even if the Cowboys make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not going to win a playoff game.
If they win a playoff game.
They're not going to win a playoff game.
Okay.
I mean, Dallas
McCarthy,
Cowboys are not winning a playoff.
Yeah, I think he might skate. But
No.
it makes sense. He shouldn't be the coach there. I mean, it just makes complete sense.
Dan Quinn will be the coach there. Hopefully Washington goes 1-16 and they hire Lincoln Riley, Cliff Kingsbury, and Caleb Williams. Just bring the whole USC family.
Oh, yeah. Easy now. They haven't done anything yet.
And while we're
together.
at it, go ahead and bring Cliff Kingsbury's girlfriend this way as well.
Oh, yeah.
She can run player development.
She'd love Washington, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised your boy Dan Campbell didn't wind up on this list.
Well,
some Dan
Campbell, listen, if I wanted
on the top 10, that is, not the top 5.
No. If you want a pregame speech, Dan Campbell would probably be number 1, talking about ripping legs and arms off of people. But, I don't know how real savvy X and O wise Dan Campbell is. But I love me some Dan Campbell. I think he's a great man. I think he's exactly what Detroit needs. And I hope he gets Detroit in the playoffs because that city deserves it. The franchise deserves it. And, for as much crap as he's taken, he deserves it.
Great. Yeah, you're right. MLB, got the playoffs coming up. What are your thoughts on the schedule? We got the schedule's out now. They begin on October 3rd, the postseason. Who's in the most imminent danger of missing the playoffs? We obviously know who the favorites are, but who in your mind is really in trouble?
Well, I think the Yankees are done after their loss tonight. I gave them out. They lost again. They're now 5.5 back. I think they're 5.5 in the wild card back, and even more importantly, they got to hop the Red Sox and Mariners. That's not going to happen. I think the Angels are toast. They're 7.5 back.
Yeah,
I don't see a path for them. And then obviously from the Mets down, the Mets called it in. But look, this National League, so you got Philly, the number 1 wild card, which I thought would be. Then the Giants are up 3 games on Miami. And then behind Miami, check this out. Cubs half a game, Reds half a game, D-backs 2 games who've really fell off. They've lost 7 in a row, looking like 8 in a row tonight. And Padres 4. That thing's really tightening up. I said Phillies for sure. But I like the Cubs and to get in there. I just can't envision the Reds or Marlins making it. I just can't get that through my little brain, but, we'll see what happens.
All right. You excited about October?
I am. I think that I'm still not changing my position. Atlanta and Philly in the National League, Baltimore and Texas in the American League. I'm not changing my position either way.
All right.
Diamondbacks, Padres are going to get eliminated tonight. God bless. I'm going to go 1-3. Unless Diamondbacks miracle.
How are picks going to look come postseason as opposed to the regular season for all of our winners out there?
You're going to have a lot more series bets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the series progresses?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I got to try to make up some ground there. We didn't have a good playoffs last year. The regular season was great. Playoffs wasn't very good. So I want to see what we can do there on that part of it.
Okay.
Man, I can't believe Padres gave up 4 runs in the freaking 8th. What a bunch of losers.
Oh, the Pods. Yeah, I love you some Pods. Speaking of losers, this week the big losers were the Pac-12. We had some big movement happen in the college football realignment. And on Friday, August 4th, we had Arizona State, and Utah all left the Pac-12 to go to the Big 12. And then we saw Washington, Oregon, which you talked about on the show last week. We kind of knew this was going to happen. They went to the Big 10. So thoughts on the college football realignment and what it means for the Pac-12, which very sadly might just be pretty much done at this point.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, who are they going to get?
I have no idea.
I mean, and why is the
some
ACC...
whack? Maybe some whack, teams.
That's whack. But you know what? Why is the ACC looking at Stanford and Cal? That makes no sense.
That doesn't make sense. I mean, are there some Ivy League teams already in the ACC? It's maybe that kind of makes sense for Stanford.
No, look,
I guess
the ACC missed their chance 4 years ago, when they didn't grab West Virginia and they refused to let JMU and Appalachian State, they didn't get other schools to build the conference. But Florida State, they're in a real pickle because they got to give back a lot of money to get out of that conference.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, will the SEC bite the bullet and help Florida State come on down?
Well, they can't just take one, right? They have to take two.
Well, it would be them and Clemson. That's the next
Clemson.
domino I'm waiting to fall. Where does Florida State and Clemson go? Now, the ACC is in discussion with SMU, but again, leave it to the ACC, way late to the party.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
you
feeding
knew,
off the table scraps at this point.
Yeah, I mean, oh, there was a buffet. Sorry we missed it. You got anything left in the trash? I mean, yeah, so it's like, hey, no more filet mignon. It's cool. We can have some Zestas.
Zestas.
It was a
Only
Zesta,
you would know the
bag
brands
of
of
Zesta
saltine
saltines.
crackers.
Well, I need them for my soup.
Oh, you're a soup guy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Josh talked about it. You love soup.
I love soup.
You love soup.
I love going to Panera. That's the only good part about fall. That and pumpkin spice lattes. You go to Panera and say, I'd like the broccoli and cheese soup.
Hey, I love me some broccoli and cheese. I like the tomato basil, and you dip your bacon
Grilled
turkey
cheese.
Bravo in it,
Okay.
or the grilled cheese. Yeah, either
I'm
way.
a Frontega chicken kind of guy.
Okay, I have to try that one.
You haven't had the Frontega chicken?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't lived yet.
I don't usually order chicken though when I'm like at a restaurant. I don't know why. It's weird about it.
Well,
I'll eat it at home.
so yeah,
Unless it's
I don't
chicken
know.
wings.
So,
Do some buffalo
Yeah.
wings any day.
hey, buffalo wings were pretty good at the Barstool Sportsbook, soon to be the
Those
ESPN
were
Bet Book.
so good. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, I
they
can't
were
wait to
good.
go back there. Please have
Well,
us back.
hopefully they have us back now. I guess I got to
Even though
stop
you're
calling
with
them the
ESPN.
worldwide leader of bankruptcy.
All right, let's wrap up the show. You got anything left for the John's betting corner? I know
Well,
you got
no,
some
they-
free plays you want to give out.
Yeah, so just back to the ACC thing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they go from here. I think we're down to 3 super conferences, but I'm not sure how that all works itself out. I mean, what's that look like?
For the college football playoff, it looks kind of funky, I think. You know, the Power 5 goes away and kind of have to realign some things. And the SEC commissioner came out today, said some stuff about how, you know, there's concern from these other big conferences about what's going on. You know, I don't think they were all necessarily aligned with, you know, necessarily the Pac-12 going away, but I think it's going to have some ramifications on the playoff, but I think we are at least far enough away for them to make some changes and figure out how it's going to work.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, man. I don't know. I think it's going to be
Very
interesting. Yeah, so a couple other things I want to do here. So we got the Patriots plus 3.5. Then we got a 7-point teaser, Patriots plus 10.5 with Commandos plus 10.5. Then I want to do a money line parlay plus 125 on the odds here. We're going to take the Denver Broncos. Russ is supposed to, Sean Payton's going to let him cook a little bit this first game, I hear. And Bryce Young's going to get the start against the Jets, so I'm going to take the Panthers to beat the Jets there. In that one, what are you shaking your head for? Preseason, give me a break. And then we're going to go another little 7-point teaser here. I want to take the Dolphins, take them up to plus 9.5. Dolphins, we're going to take them up to plus 9.5. And we're going to take the Dallas Cowboys to plus 11.
Oh,
Okay. The Cowboys plus 11 on that part of it. And then I like the LA Chargers plus 3.5 against the Rams. So there you go. We got 5 plays. Let's see what happens.
That's a good little free play slate for
Good little free play
our
slate. We'll
winners
see
and
what happens.
non-winners out there. Anybody new? These are plays for you guys to come on and give us a try.
Yeah, I like. I'm interested to see this Green Bay Cincinnati game with Jordan Love. I really want to see. the Colts are going to give some run to Anthony Richardson. And it's funny, their depth chart had at number 1, it has Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson. Like they didn't list one first. It says,
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of ors going around.
Yeah.
So I want to see how
Ors.
that goes. Obviously, Buffalo's not going to wheel out any of their studs, right? So the Colts, they're laying 5 at Buffalo. I'm not laying 5, but you would think, hey, they should be able to get the victory there. Saturday night, Philly catching 6 at Baltimore. Will Baltimore keep the streak alive? Both DraftKings and FanDuel have a thing. Will the Ravens go undefeated in the preseason? Yes, plus 200. No, minus 265.
Oh, wow.
Sunday afternoon, San Francisco laying 4 at the Vegas Raiders. Obviously, Vegas, they've been a mess, like I've said. Who knows where that franchise is going? But San Francisco, they got a good quarterback stable. You got Purdy, you got Lance, you got Darnold. They're all going to get some run.
Yeah.
Right? So, San Francisco minus 180 in there. Maybe that's worth a little bit of a parlay with somebody else. So just something to look at there if you want to play around. Again, it's preseason. Don't go crazy. It's kind of like baseball. We got to the 32 over. We're knocking on the door of 40. Once we get to 40, no reason to push the envelope, right? So that is at right now 1-2 in baseball for the night, but looks like we're going to go to 1-3 thanks to the Padres who suck.
All right. Well, there you go. Covered quite a lot tonight. Man, we went over quite a bit of NFL and preseason Hall of Fame. Talked about baseball. We talked about some college. I don't know if there's much else to cover here. I think we're good to wrap
we're
this
good.
thing.
John at bccsports.com. Shoot me an email. Let's get you signed up, man.
All right. And Chop, hope you're well. Look forward to having you back next week for your to restart your winning streak. And
there's always next week, Chop.
There's always next week.
Chop's like the Jets. There's always next year.
We miss you, and we'll see you next week. And guys, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, just reach out, John at BCCS Sports. If you have any betting questions, you can always tweet us at BCCS Sports on X or Twitter, whatever it's called these days. Really appreciate you all listening and hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. And then the following week, we go to 2 episodes a week. So actually, was it the following week? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But next week we'll be back. So.
Yep. Not next week, week after.
All right.
All right, AJ. Later, my winners. Love y'all.
See you guys.